crafting buddies. It's late night Lori, and I'm really late tonight, but it is midnight. And I kind of promise to be online between 11 p.m. and midnight. Um, every night, I think, since January. So thanks for waiting for me if you've been hanging around. And let me get my iPad set up so if any late night people catch up with me. I apologize for being a little later tonight, but stuff happens. So we're having storms again by us in Wisconsin. And I had to go get most of my chickens inside because the door closed and they must have missed it because they thought they could stay out all night, I guess. So I had to go do that. I was doing some other crafting tonight with one of the gals on my team. And here we are. It's midnight. So I'm going to do, I hope, several, but quick and easy cards. First, just a reminder, the new in color products are on sale, 15% off until August 31st. You can go to my page if you click on shop by color, and then you can pull up the 2025 to 2027 in colors and see all the stuff that's on sale. The first 5 or maybe 6 people, depending, that order from me before or by August 31st, if you spend at least $35 in product, I will gift you a full-size cloud cover ink pad. These are not available to customers. So there's a color shift that Stampin' Up! Wasn't happy with. So they're giving it just to demonstrators. I can't sell them, but I can gift them. So if you place an order, I don't care if it's in color products or something else, I will gift you an ink pad if it's at least $35 in product. If you're local to me, Wednesday, the 20th, we're doing Coffee and a Card at Cat's Coffee House in Waterford. We start at about 10 a.m. and go for a couple of hours. Feel free to join me. We will be making birthday cards with coordinating tags. And then we have the mini catalog. This goes live on September 3rd. I am strictly prohibited from sharing the inside of the catalog, so I can only show you the front. But let me tell you, it's packed with what I think is a lot of fun stuff. There will also be online exclusives, so there's just a whole bunch of new products coming out available to customers September 3rd. If you can't wait, you can always join my team, and then you have access to everything as soon as you join. And there were 3 new kits released this month, so go take a look at those as well. So let's start doing a little bit of crafting. It's going to be quick and easy. I actually have an appointment early in the morning here on Tuesday, so I need to kind of make this quick so that I can get at least a few hours of sleep before I have to go for my appointment. So I am looking tonight at these Joyful Days Memories and More card pack. The main colors in here are Cherry Cobbler, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Secret Sea, and Strawberry Slush. I'm not using Secret Sea or Strawberry Slush. I'm focusing on the Cherry Cobbler and Mossy Meadow. But these cards are pretty fun. I have gotten Memories and More cards several times over the years, and I typically haven't really gotten much use out of them because it's like, well, they're cute, but now what do I do with them? So I'm going to show you some things to do other than, memory keeping, because I think these are mostly for people that do scrapbooking, but I'm going to make a bunch of cards, and I'm going to be casing the samples that Stampin' Up! Has provided us that you'll be able to see in the coming weeks once it goes live on September 3rd. There are some 4x6 cards. So there's 3 different ones. There's the front and the back. This would be if there's some journaling to be done. Again, this is probably more for journaling. I like this side. And those are the Secret Sea, the Mossy Meadow, Cherry Cobbler. That's probably Strawberry Slush-ish. And basic white, of course. And then these trees, these evergreen trees, are awesome with a nice plaid on the back. I really like that as well. And then we've got some that are 3x4. So Joyful Days with just a kind of landscaping background. Evergreen tree with more of that black and red tones. Choo choo, welcome. I'm late tonight. Have you been waiting for me? Here's some evergreens that kind of match this other one. But I like this side too. There's Christmas cheer on there. We're going to use this one tonight. There is just like a bow wreath, basically. Nice little evergreen with some journaling space there. A Merry Christmas. I'm going to use this one. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm just coming on. I was crafting tonight with somebody from my team, and I had chickens that didn't want to get in their hen house in spite of our storms. So I had to rescue more than half my flock from outside in their little playground. So they're all caged in, so they were safe. They were just not smart enough to go in out of the rain. And then there's this one probably for some journaling, of course, with the lines, but another cute plaid. So I'm just going to move these over. These are the new Memories and More cards coming in just a couple of weeks now. And then to enhance at least one of the cards, I'm going to use this frame die. I got these and I haven't done a whole lot with them. I made some, I know those chickens, they're just crazy, but I love them. They're so sweet. I used this die to make a home decor item, like an old-fashioned photo album sort of thing. So I'm going to use this tonight. I did pre-die cut, so I'm probably not going to need to use it, but I did want to show you what they were. And this is Sentimental Framing Dies. So first off, let's go ahead and I'm going to start with this little 3x4 card. Hello, is it Sala? Welcome. So I'm going to start with this one. This is a 3x4, and I am going to pair it with a mossy metal card base. So this is 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. If you've crafted with me before, you know I like to cut 2 bases at once so that I only have to score it once. And let's get a bone folder out here. We're just going to burnish this end. And here is a cherry cobbler. I've cut this down to 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. Yes, 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. And I think what I want to do is take my snips and I'm just going to rough up the edge. Sometimes the paper doesn't cut real clean, and it's not like my blades are that old on my trimmer. Sometimes I think it's just the paper and how it is milled, because I can cut one color and I get little frays, and then I can cut another color and it's sharp as can be. You try not to score it all. I like to score. So do you free fold, or you just don't have to in your projects? You don't have to fold anything. I like to score mine. You go by many names, spellings, and pronunciations in the online paper crafting community. Oh boy. All right, so I'm just roughing up these edges so that it looks like if there was any fraying that I meant for it to be there. And if you see a little visitor flying around, I've had this fly, which is partly why I'm late too, because I was trying to get the doggone fly out of here. All right, let's get rid of my dust here. So then what I'm going to do with this is I am going to cut this. I'm going to put this here. I'm not going to attach it because I think I'm going to put this whole thing up on dimensionals. But I'm going to take this. You can see that it's really tight, and that would be cute. But what I want to do is take a little bit off the top, a little bit off the bottom, and put a layer here and just have a little bit of space between all of those layers so we can see a little bit of cherry cobbler between them. Cute? So let's go ahead and glue these down. Yeah, scoring does make the folds look neater, but I do score my cards. When I go to other events and the bases aren't scored, I just don't think my cards look quite as nice. I just like that crisp fold. So I'm going to do the top and the bottom first. I'm going to put that middle one in last. Yeah, Juju, you seem like a free spirit, so the fact that you free fold, I am not surprised. So the only thing with cutting these is you want to make sure that you keep your pattern intact so that when you put that middle piece in, it's where it's supposed to be. All right. So Mama Juju, you already went live because you said you go live at 10 Central Time, I think is what you told me yesterday or the day before. And then Pam goes on later, or is she on now? I know you guys jump around a little bit. You are a free spirit, see? I thought so. And then this I'm going to put up on dimensionals. I think I'm going to use the dark ones. I think I'm going to use the black dimensionals. And I only have mini ones here, so I'm going to cut around the edges. Okay, so she's on now. She's on for pretty long too, right? So will you be able to catch both of us? And then for this, the inside of this card, I will probably put a cherry cobbler layer and then a white layer so I can write on it. Wow, she's on for a long time. Oh, come on. There we go. Sometimes those are very compliant and sometimes not so much. All right. I'm not going to do the inside just because you guys can figure out how to do the inside of a card. But we went from this to this. Pretty simple. Huh, that's funny. So you kind of nap in between. All right, so there's that one done. Next, I'm going to take this one. And let's get a little creative with that. And I'm also going to use the trees. Oh my gosh. She was on until 6 in the morning? Holy cow. She's got some stamina. All right, so I'm going to use those. And because this is landscaped, of course, I'm adapting my card as such. But what I do then is I score it at 5.5 and I cut it at 4 1/4 because I don't like to have my cards like this because they flatten out. Okay. That's funny. All right. So there's that. Now this we're going to have to cut down because it's too big, obviously. So I'm just going to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4, and we'll see how that looks. Because it's 6 inches wide. And it's already 4. All right, so I took a 1/2 inch off, and then I kept these pieces because I might use them for the inside. All right, now for this, I don't want that whole piece on there because you can't really see the trees. So, thank you. Yeah, I think it is really cute. I kind of copied from Stampin' Up, but mine I did a little different. So I like to change them up just a little bit to make them a little more mine. So this one, we're going to cut out just that Christmas cheer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my trimmer over for this one because I want to kind of keep that plaid intact. So I'm going to move my scoring blade up here, and I'm going to try not to get my head in here. And we're going to come up here, and we're going to go down to just the white, and then up to the white. And then I'm going to turn it around. We'll do the same thing here. And then we'll cut here. And we'll just leave a plaid frame. And hopefully I'm getting it all the way. It's hard when I can't put my head as far under the camera as would make it easier to see. But look at that. We did pretty good. Awesome. So I'm going to hang on to this for another project. I'll use that for a frame for something else. So then here we can do this, but to me that just looks kind of blah. So I am going to, this is about 1.5 by 2 7/8. So let's find some cherry cobbler. So I want to go 1.5, we'll go another quarter, 2 7/8, 3 1/8. Let's see how this works. See if I measured right. I might not have measured right. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here, and look at, doesn't that make all the difference? And then the other thing I think I want to do is I want to add some ribbon. I think we're going to add, I think we'll add some gold ribbon. This was on the last chance list, so I think it's still available. If it's not, I apologize. But I'm going to wrap this around, we're going to do, let me get my bow maker if I can find it. We're going to make a cute little bow. That might be too big. We'll make a smaller one. And I'm going to leave enough tail on here because I want to be able to attach it to the back of the card. So let's just make this hopefully long enough. Now I could make a separate bow and then glue it to the front, but this is just going to be a little more. So this will come under here, but I think that'll be good. So we're going to go ahead and put this on here. And I'm going to use a little bit of seal. And then I'm going to use tear tape to just make sure it's secure. Let's see if that's straight enough. That's pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and trim these edges off. I could save those for another project, but I'm not going to. It's retiring, so it's not like I'm going to use a whole lot of it anymore. And then I'm just going to use tear and tape. Yeah, that's the nice thing about Stampin' Up! Is that everything is color coordinated. And now we have the two-tone cardstock that basically the darker color is the true color. And if you stamped off once, that's what the reverse side is. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And I just like to use a tear tape with the Stampin' Seal just to make sure the ribbon doesn't go anywhere. Likes to match the colors. Definitely a big plus for them with other brands. Yeah, you do just have to kind of guess with some of the other brands. I need to make sure my card's opening the right way. Now we know what to do with the Cracker Barrel memory game. Yes. Make a bow maker out of it. Every time I go to Cracker Barrel, that's what I think of. Oh, I wish I had some ribbon with me. I could just make some bows. All right. That, I really like that. That's very pretty, I think. And then we're just going to glue these together. So I may actually make it all the way through a Memories and More card pack for the first time in my life, because I just think these are so pretty and just has so many possibilities. Who else has chickens? I don't remember if anybody here has chickens. This is very pretty all on its own, that tree. That's why I didn't want to cover it up with that full size, because, you know, if this is like that, yeah, it's a border, but, you know, you can't, this is the only one you could tell was a tree. So we're going to put this right down here. And my bow will not come untied because of doing it on a bow maker. It's just a different kind of knot. It doesn't loosen up. So there's that. And I think I want some kind of embellishment on here. Something classy. Let's just see. These I think would work because there's some speckle on the background. So I'm going to use a few of these. We'll just put them on there. It doesn't change the feel of the card a whole lot. And I don't like the white ones at all. I think they dress it down. And then I think what I'll do is splatter, add a spaceship and a ball with a bird riding a deer. Yeah, that's not quite my style. I think we will put some Wink of Stella on here though, because a little glimmer makes everything a little more fun. You won't be able to see the glimmer, but it is all over there and it's quite shimmery. All right, so there's card number 2. And on the inside, I will probably just put the cherry cobbler with the white layer again. Yeah, I'm not, Juju, I'm not surprised. Not at all. So we went from this to this. And how simple was that? I didn't have to stamp a thing, you know? Didn't have to stamp a thing. So on those days where you just need to get a whole bunch of stuff done, great. All right? Quick and easy. And again, from this to that, just like that. So now let's take a look. We did this one. Let's do this most wonderful time of year. That's got a journaling page on the back, so I'm not going to do the journaling. And then we've got this piece, and that's a journaling one as well. So I'm going to use these 2 pieces. And I'm going to use, I need to get a different piece of cardstock because I need it landscaped. Hold on. So we'll score it 5.5. And cut it at 4.25. I thought I had all my sizes that I needed, but I was mistaken. All right. So we're going to go here, and I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off of the height here, and I'm going to make it 5 inches. So 3 3/4 by 5. Because I want this a little crooked, I think. We'll see. And then this I'm going to cut down to, let's see, we'll do 3 3/4 and 5 as well. So this is 6, so let's take a 1/2 inch off of each side. And then I think an 1/8 inch and an 1/8 inch. Let's see. So that's about the same, yep, it's about the same size. So what I wanted to do was have that canted, but I'm going to take more off because I want this a little bit smaller yet. So let's do, we'll just take a little bit off at a time. I'm just going to take an 1/8 inch off of each side to keep it balanced. And we'll see how this looks. Oh, I think that's better. What do you think? And I think I want the dark colors on the bottom. Yeah, what do you think? Okay. And then do we need maybe some silver ribbon on here or not? I could do silver ribbon in a knot, maybe. Let's take a look. So if we did like so, kind of get an idea. If it would cooperate. So there's kind of an idea there, and then we could put a little knot on here, or should I just use some gems that have sparkle? I know I have some. I could color these with cherry cobbler. Yes, for the ribbon. Okay, I think it dresses it up some. And then we can make some red berries too. All right, so crafting on the fly, right? All right. I'm really making a mess here, but at least I'm finding where my things are. I'm just gonna go like this. Just a little insurance. And then we'll end up putting this on dimensionals, I think, anyway. But here we'll just cut this and make a knot. Maybe if I can get my finger out of there. And then we can slide this wherever we decide it should look good. Something like that, maybe. I think I want it this way. Should have used my ribbon scissors, they're sharper. Yes, and gems. Definitely gems. All right, so these go in here. Let's get some of this stuff put away so I don't entirely lose everything. All right. So this is pretty fast. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. You like sparkle, huh? Sparkle is good, but I don't do glitter. Glitter makes me crazy because it goes everywhere. So then I'm just going to have canted so we can see a variety of color. We'll take these off. And this can go here. And then I think I'm going to put a glue dot under that, just so it doesn't bounce around too much. Ooh, I'm glad you agree with me. My sister-in-law gave my granddaughter a dress a couple of years ago that had glitter on it. And of course, she wanted to put it on right away. Well, we were at their house and glitter got all over the inside of my truck, all over the house, and it made me crazy. My dad was living here. My parents were living here, and my mother may have already passed away. I don't remember. But anyway, my dad and my husband cleaned up the glitter because I couldn't. It's like, no, I can't do this. I don't do glitter. So they cleaned it up. It worked out all right for me. I'm going to use medium ones and small ones. I think the big one is just too much. Now when you have rhinestones, you have to use alcohol blends, not regular markers, because regular markers will just rub right off. And if you forget, you'll find out as soon as you touch them. All right, let's see about this. I don't know what Stickles is. I lead a sheltered life. I do pretty much just Stampin' Up stuff because it gets delivered right to my door. It's all color coordinated and I don't have to really think very much at all. I think we'll put that one there. All right, card number 3. This is like record time. And then I'll put a cherry cobbler layer inside with my, oh, glitter glue. Okay. Yeah, that would probably be all right, as long as the glitter doesn't come loose. Or if the glue gets on me and the glitter stays, then that's a hard no again. But I will put cherry cobbler in here with a layer of the basic white. Card number 3. Let's go to card number 4. So I can get some of these things out of the way, right? Because I had some of these kind of pre-laid out while I was waiting to catch a fly. All right, so we are going to use this one that says Joyful Days. And again, this journaling piece, I'm going to use the back. All right. And we're going to put this on a basic white card. I've got a little glue dot. Stick them on me. All right. And this we're going to cut down to 5 1/4 because it's already 4 inches wide. And we can put this on here. I kind of like the dark to the left because then it lightens up that way. And I think we will, do I need a layer of the Secret Sea behind here, do you think? Let me go get some Secret Sea and see what it looks like. Just see if this is 3 by 4, I think. Yeah, 3 by 4. 3 1/4. 4 1/4. With or without the border. I think the border kind of sets it off a little bit because then I can elevate this on dimensionals. And then we can add some more shimmer. What do you think? Of course. Yeah. We could put some ribbon on there, but I don't want to have them all super similar either. Yes, with the layer. Okay. I think it does kind of frame it nicely. So I think I can definitely get through these memory and more cards and just make a ton of different designs pretty easily. It's a great set of colors. I like the traditional green and red for the Christmas holiday. And I like it that these cards are heavier than just designer series paper, so they're really easy to work with. But if you put too many layers, I suppose it would require extra postage if you put a lot on. That'll be good. Yes, layers or sparkle, always yes. I would say I tend to agree with that. It's always better with a little shimmer. So I think this one I'm just going to use the regular rhinestones without coloring them. I'll put this one over here. Maybe one up there. I think 3 is enough. That's a small layer. All right, so there's card number 4. So we went from this, and I'll find it, and this, and made it into that card. Very basic, very easy. Woohoo! Lori's on a roll. All right, and then I have one more laid out, I think. And I'm going to use a white card base. And then I am using Old Olive because that's one of the colors in here. And this is where I used the die. I wanted an old-time Christmas look, and this really gives it, if you can see that, hopefully. So yours goes up after, yeah, ours is if it's more than 1/4 inch. And then if it's over an ounce, there's extra postage required. Yes, this one does almost look like there's 3 panels because of how that white is just mingled in there. And if I wouldn't have trimmed off, you know, both of the top and the bottom to make it fit, it would have looked even more like separate panels. All right, so, oops, I see one more little piece that didn't come out with the die. This is kind of detailed, so there's a lot of little holes in there. I have a brush to take those out, but anyway, I use this biggest frame from the Sentimental framing dies because I thought it looked like a nice classic Christmas. So I am going to go ahead and, oh, there's another one. I thought I had these all popped out. And I want to make sure they are all out because once they're glued down, you can't really get them back out of there. So I'm just gonna, now this is kind of like, there's a lot of like perforation in here that gives it texture, but it doesn't seem like it goes all the way through. And I guess I'll find out when I start pushing this down, and we'll see if any of the glue leaks through. So I'm avoiding some of those holes, obviously. All right, let's just see how this does. Scooch that over just a little bit there. I know, there's always something stuck. And then, you know, sometimes I'll just save some of those scraps. And then if I see one that's stuck, like on foliage, especially, you can kind of leave some of those in there and it almost gives like texture to the leaves. So if I see like just one or two and they look out of place, then I'll find another one and I'll just fill it in. And just glue it back on. Like here, there's one right there. One more, there's so little. And these corners, I didn't use quite heavy enough glue. There, I think that's good. And then we'll go ahead. I needed a square that was big enough to cover that hole, so. Should I fray the edges of that cherry cobbler or leave it just squared off? There's a little bit of fray on here, but not a whole lot. So the other one that I frayed the edges is this one. I think it kind of, I don't know, it gives it kind of a softer look. Yeah, I hang on to some of those edges that I cut off because you can make them into, you know, even a, like to line something like this. You know, I could do it almost like that if I was going to do them the same height. You know, there's a lot of things you can use those pieces for. Yeah, vintagey. It's kind of what I was thinking. And sometimes when I'm doing this, I'm not particularly careful, and if part of the paper rips, quite honestly, I don't care because I think it adds to the look I'm going for. I don't automatically do it, but if there was more of this border showing, I might even spritz it and crumple the paper. More dust for the floor. Okay. So we'll glue this on. Juju, you still with us or you're napping? You're pretty quiet. I'm just shifting it a little bit so it's a little more centered. And then I don't want to lift this up on dimensionals just because this frame here is so close that if I put it on dimensionals, you're going to be able to see the hole in the back. So I'm just going to glue this flat. All right, you're still watching. Good. Glad we didn't lose you. All right. Now this one we could be really hokey and I could put an embellishment on the top. I lost the cap to my pokey tool. There we go. Yeah, when they get big enough, I pick them up. Yeah, it does give them extra character. I like that. So we'll go with that. And then let me get another pack because I think I want to put a bunch of little ones on here. These I colored with, I don't even remember what blue it was, but it looks enough like Secret Sea that we can put that on there. And then let's go ahead and open this. I'm just going to make sure that I have an odd number on there because that's supposed to balance it out and make it visually appealing. That's what they tell me. All right. So let's just put a bunch of these on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, I think would be good. And then I think maybe some Wink Stella. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. So I think what I'll do here is rather than spritz the Wink Stella, I'm going to color, just add them to the bubbles. So you can't see that probably. I'm probably going to have to put a couple layers. I squeezed more of my Wink Stella out yesterday and I got a lot out, so I hesitate to squeeze it again because I don't want to waste it. But sometimes if it doesn't go on real dark or heavy enough, I just let it dry and I put another layer on. You probably can't see the shimmer, but it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. So we'll just go over some of these again. If one layer is good, 2 layers even better, right? All right. Now, I do need a sentiment on here though, don't I? So maybe, I don't like that one. That's too much. Merry Christmas is kind of big. We may have to find just another sentiment from somewhere. Well, that's going to slow me down a little bit, isn't it? Let's see. With my pre-order, I didn't order a whole lot of Christmas things. I ordered that gingerbread guy. You'll have to use your imagination with this one. I am going to find some sentiment somewhere that will look good. I may have to wait until I place another order. We'll see. But here's my extra pieces, so I'm going to definitely use those. I don't know about some of these narrow ones, but you never know. It could make some kind of fun design. Who knows? All right, so let's get this stuff out of the way. And I will bring in all 5 of those cards. That's all I'm going to do tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. Alright, so we've got our Merry Christmas. We did Christmas cheer, most wonderful time of the year, joyful days, and the Christmas tree. I could probably have gotten rid of those notes, huh? I wasn't even looking at those. And my my husband brought me home Chinese dinner because I was busy. If you continually give, you will continually have. And I'm thinking if I continually give, sometimes I continually get taken advantage of. So I know it's all in your perspective, but yeah, give and you will receive, right? You can always layer a thinner and thicker strip with a gap in between on the inside of the card. Yeah, absolutely. I do use those a lot of times on my inner layers, just so that there's continuity from the front of the card to the inside of the card. I like to do that. So, and I may very well do that with these. We'll just have to see. But that is all I have for you tonight. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like them. I like them because they were quick and easy. We got a lot done in a relatively short period of time. Now I'll just clean up a little bit and let's see. Nah, that Christmas cheer is too big. I'll find a sentiment for them. So, life experience, adding in fortune cookie text, right? Reality. I'm a realist. I can't help it. So, thank you all for stopping in. I do appreciate it. Your likes or thumbs up or shares obviously help me share what I love, and that's being creative and helping you be creative as well. So until next time, which is probably tomorrow night, hopefully a little bit earlier, but until then, happy crafting. All right. Good night.